My name is Don Bowman, and today we're going to talk about how phishing can be used as a way to negate the value of your corporate firewall. A lot of people have this very simple architectural model in mind. They think, me, on my desktop, I have a couple of key utilities. I use my browser, and I have my email. And inside my corporate network, I have some applications that I use that are important to me, highly secured. So this could be my financial, my CRM, anything like this. And that I have some corporate firewall which protects this application from everyone else, so from your attackers. They can't come in the firewall, therefore the application is secure. From the same desktop, I enjoy a set of other services, and these could be blogs, it could be other, any sort of website. And also, anyone in the world can send email to me. Come back in through my firewall, and I read it. So this thing is secure. And what I'm thinking that I'm worried about with phishing is that somebody is going to send me an email that I will react to negatively. Maybe the email says, "Hi, we're your biggest customer, and we've changed our payment processing information for that refund that you owe us." Or maybe it's somebody who's tricking you into giving up personal information about yourself or about a client of yours. So you're mostly on guard for that. You're not thinking about technology vectors, you're thinking about sort of what's in there. But today we're going to talk about how that phishing email could be used to allow us to get access to this system by this attacker. So first we'll talk a little bit about terminology. So you hear a lot of these phrases. You'll hear about XSS. This stands for cross-site scripting. You'll hear about CSRF. Stands for cross-site request forgery. You're going to hear about content security policy. So content security policy, in a nutshell, it's designed to make it so that this blog can control what type of active content can be placed on it by someone else. So when you go to a blog and you see a comment, you're not expecting that that can then run something active, and that's what the CSP is for. And we'll talk a little bit about two key things that are cached in your browser. First is called an access token, and you may also see people refer to a session cookie. And what these are is, at some point in time in the past, you've logged into this system. You've supplied some credentials, hopefully with two-factor authentication, and it's come back and it's cached something in your browser to say, yes, this user has an active session with me. If they present this credential, I will allow that session to continue. So, how does phishing play? Well, I send you an email, and it comes into your browser, or if you're using browser-based email, or it comes into your desktop email application, which in turn contains a browser. And I encourage you to click on a link in it. And that link might be a button, it could be an image, something like that. And what it does is it relies on the fact that your browser you have open, and you have tab 1 open, which is your CRM, and you've got tab 2 open, which is your email, or the link that they click on. And what happens is they get you to do something in this tab that can sneak over and do something into this other tab. And it does that by guessing that there's a set of weaknesses in this corporate application. You're going to hear a lot about libraries like Bootstrap and jQuery. These libraries are used in nearly every web-based application out there. They're very, very popular. And over the years, they've had a set of vulnerabilities in this area. And here's the dirty little secret. Application developers, they don't go back and update these. So even though you're using a web-based application, you would think of it as ever fresh. In practical terms, it might be using a 10-year-old version of jQuery, not at all uncommon. Or you may see that it's using a 10-year-old version of Bootstrap. So what happens is this attacker estimates that you have one of these applications open. They send you an email And because they're not trying to get you to change financial information or give up personal information, your guard is lower. They may be reminding you of this blog that you participate in, and they may be suggesting that there's a new posting that you're interested in that you should click on. And you don't think about that as being very risky. But what happens is now your browser, without you being in control of it, it goes to this site. And it has access to the login credentials, the access token of the session cookie, because you're actively logged in. And then it turns around and it posts that back to a site that this person has their control of. So what it does is maybe it's a competitor of yours. They want to have a list of your customers and the discount you've given. So it guesses that you've got a CRM by a certain company. It knows they have this weakness. They send you an email. They encourage you to click on a button. That button turns and runs some JavaScript, fetch star from customers, and then it turns around and posts that to the internet. So what can you do about this? Well, there's a couple things. So first, you'll hear about technologies, web application firewalls, or WAF. These would sit in front here, and they would give it some level of protection. You can run things like retire.js. I've done a blog post in the past. I'll post that in the link below. That shows how in your browser you can assess the vulnerability of the sites that you go to. You can ask your vendors to prove that they have constantly updated this. You can ask them what list of CVEs, common vulnerabilities and exploits, are known, and then you can assess what the risks are. You can turn off HTML in your email, but nearly all email today requires some level of HTML. And otherwise, it's just very difficult. The main things that you want to look for are the sites that I use. Do they use a strong content security policy? The tools that I use, are they relatively secure against cross-site scripting and CSRF? And the applications that I use, do they use good security in protecting this token? You want the cookie, if it's present, to be HTTP only. You want it to be secure. So HTTP only means JavaScript can't get at it. It's only things that you do that you see in the browser, not things that run in the background. And secure means it can only be done over HTTP channel. You want to look at how else they're storing that. Are they storing it in local storage? It means maybe somebody can get at it afterwards. This are the types of things you need to do. So I've shown you a little bit about how this corporate firewall, it didn't do anything here. That email is allowed to come in. You're already in. You already have access. Boom, we laterally traversed. We got access. And boom, we allow outbound, and away we went. So I'll post some more information on the blog post with this video that talks about the specifics, and I'll show you an example code so you can see what would happen. But otherwise, be safe out there, and just remember, this firewall, it's not really doing anything for you anymore. You may as well have this on the public internet and be more secure and simpler, and put this WAF in front of it over here. Thanks very much, and bye-bye.